The flowers were for a woman who wasn't dead yet. The first thing I heard was a voice saying my name like it was already etched on a stone. Maris Holloway. A man's voice. My husband's. Caleb. Soft. Practice. The kind of tone people use at funerals and charity dinners, when they want to sound broken, but still look good doing it. I couldn't open my eyes. Couldn't lift a finger. But I could hear everything, clear as glass. Another voice answered, lower, breathy, too close to him. We can't keep paying for this room forever, Caleb. The longer she stays like this, the more complicated it gets. That voice didn't belong in my hospital room. Not unless it belonged to an enemy. I knew it anyway. Lena, my best friend, the woman who used to braid my hair in college dorm bathrooms, laughing about how we both marry men who worshipped us. The same Lena who stood beside me at my wedding, holding my bouquet and crying like she meant it. Now she was here, whispering like a co-conspirator. Caleb exhaled. I know, but it has to be clean. No mess. No loose ends. Loose ends. I tried to scream. Tried to move. My body stayed trapped, a locked door with a raging storm behind it. A paper rustled. You brought the forms? Lena asked. Caleb's voice dropped. Power of attorney. The insurance. The DNR paperwork. All of it. DNR. Do not resuscitate. My heart, if it could, would have fallen through the bed. Lena's heels clicked softly, like she was pacing at the edge of my life. And the burial arrangements? Burial. They said it like it was a meeting agenda. Like my life was a checklist. Caleb's voice trembled, but it wasn't grief. It was performance. I already spoke to the funeral director. We'll say her wishes were simple. No autopsy. No autopsy. So, whatever happened to me, whatever they did, would stay hidden. I wanted to spit blood. I wanted to rip the wires from my chest and sit up just to watch their faces fall apart. But I could only listen. Lena sighed. It's insane she's still hanging on. Caleb's voice sharpened. Don't say it like that. Someone could hear. Lena scoffed softly. Who? The nurses? They adore you. You come in with flowers. You cry at the bedside. You're the perfect husband. Perfect. Caleb leaned closer, his voice turning almost tender. You just need to be patient. Once it's done, the house is mine, the accounts are mine, and no one questions the grieving widower. My stomach churned in silence. They were talking about my house, my money, my life. Lena's tone softened in a way that made my skin crawl. And me! There was a pause, so thick it felt like suffocation. Caleb answered, quiet but certain. You and I, we finally stopped hiding. Hiding. So it wasn't a moment. It wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. A nurse entered, scrubs brushing, the squeak of clean shoes. The room brightened with movement. Caleb's voice changed instantly, cracking as if his soul was breaking. Oh, thank God, nurse. Any change? Please, tell me there's hope. Liar. The nurse spoke gently. She's stable. No change since this morning. Caleb sniffed. I just want her back. I wanted to spit the words in his face. You don't want me back. You want me buried. The nurse offered a soft, professional sympathy. Keep talking to her. Sometimes they can hear. Lena laughed quietly after the nurse left. Did you hear that? Sometimes they can hear. Caleb's chuckle was cold. If she can hear, maybe she'll save us the trouble and let go. Let go! My mind screamed. Then I heard the smallest sound, my own breath shifting, my throat working. A dry, involuntary swallow. Lena froze. Was that? Caleb lowered his voice. Probably a reflex. But my body, my traitor body, kept fighting, a tiny flicker of rebellion under the darkness. And then, right as Lena leaned in again, her perfume flooding my senses like poison, a nurse's voice called from the doorway, suddenly sharp and urgent. Doctor, I need you in here. Now. She's reacting. Caleb snapped, panicked. What do you mean, reacting? The nurse stepped closer, staring at the monitor like it had just spoken. She's trying to come back. My heart hammered behind locked ribs. And I heard Caleb whisper, not to the nurse, "Too low for anyone but me. Not yet." And in that moment, I knew he wasn't just waiting for me to die. He was about to help it happen. The first thing I saw was his face. And his fear. A cold pinch burned my arm. Not the normal sting of medicine. Something sharper, deliberate. My eyelids fluttered like broken shutters. The world rushed in as a blur of white ceiling tiles and fluorescent light. Voices collided. "Stop. What are you doing?" The nurse snapped. Caleb's voice rose, too fast. "I'm just..." She looks uncomfortable. The nurse stepped between him and the four-pole, protective like a shield. "Don't touch that." My vision sharpened enough to catch the truth. Caleb's hand hovering near the tubing, fingers tense like he'd been about to pull or push something. And Lena, standing behind him, went pale. My throat scraped when I tried to speak. Only a rasp came out. Water." Caleb whipped around so quickly he almost stumbled. His face was a mask struggling to hold its shape. Grief pasted over panic. "Oh my God," he breathed. "Maris? Baby? Baby." The word hit like an insult. The nurse leaned over me. "Maris, can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you can." I poured every ounce of rage into my fingers. My hand twitched, then squeezed. The nurse's eyes widened. "Doctor," she called out. "She's conscious." Caleb reached for me, but the nurse blocked him again with her forearm. "Give her space." Lena tried to smile, but it cracked. "Maris, oh my gosh," we were so worried. I stared at her through the haze, my tongue thick, my mouth desert dry. My mind screamed words my body couldn't yet deliver. "Worried? You were planning my burial." Caleb's voice softened. "Try and control the room." "Nurse, she's disoriented. Let's not overwhelm her." Disoriented. He wanted them to believe anything I said would be confusion. A doctor rushed in, asking questions, shining lights in my eyes, checking reflexes. Caleb performed heartbreak, like an actor auditioning for a role. "I never left her side," he told the doctor, voice shaking. "She's my whole world." The lie didn't even tremble. The doctor nodded distractedly. "We'll run scans. She's at risk for memory issues, confusion." Caleb's eyes flickered with relief. There it was, the opening he'd been waiting for. If I sounded confused, then my truth could be dismissed. The nurse, her name tag read Nora, stayed near my head. She watched Caleb with quiet suspicion, like she'd seen too many wolves wearing kindness. As staff wheeled me out for tests, Caleb leaned close enough that only I could hear. "Hey," he whispered, his tone sweet like honey over glass. "Don't fight, okay? You need to rest. Let the doctors handle everything." My eyes met his. I couldn't speak yet, but I let my stare do the talking. His jaw tightened. Lena leaned in from the other side. "I'm so glad you're back. You scared us." I blinked slowly, refusing her comfort like poison. Hours passed in a blur of machines and murmured conversations. Pain returned in waves, headache, nausea, muscle weakness. Yet my mind was bright and alert. Too alert, because I remembered everything now, not just their voices. The night of the accident, the way Lena insisted on driving me home, the way she offered me a drink to calm my nerves, the bitter taste, the sudden dizziness, her hand on my shoulder, too heavy, then darkness. I was back in my room later, alone except for Nora adjusting my blanket. She thought I was asleep, but I wasn't. I forced my voice, raw but present. "Nora." She jumped slightly, then came closer. "Yes, Maris." I swallowed, each movement scraping. Did anyone change my orders? DNR. Nora's face hardened. "Why are you asking that?" "Because I heard them. But I couldn't say it all at once. My throat wouldn't allow it. I whispered, "My husband, he touched my fore." Nora's eyes sharpened like a blade being drawn. I saw his hand. That's why I stopped him. Hope, thin as thread, tightened in my chest. I forced the words out, one painful syllable at a time. He and Lena talked about burial. Nora went very still. Then she leaned closer and spoke softly, but with steel under every word. "Maris, if what you're saying is true, You have to be careful. People who plan something like that don't stop just because you open your eyes. Tears burn behind my lids. Not from weakness. Anger. What do? I rasped. Nora looked toward the door, then back to me. I'm going to help you, she whispered. But you have to help me help you. She reached into her pocket and slid something small into my hand. A phone. Not mine, hers. Maybe. On the screen, a voice recording app was already open. Nora's eyes held mine. The next time they talk, we make sure you're not the only one who hears it. A slow, savage relief spread through my veins. Because for the first time, I wasn't trapped. I was awake. And they didn't know how dangerous that was. He thought I was weak. So I let him think it. Nora didn't move right away. Caleb's smile stayed fixed, but his eyes flicked the phone in my hand, barely visible beneath the blanket. I said, he repeated, voice polite. Could you give us a moment? Nora stepped forward, adjusting my floor with deliberate calm. I can't leave a high-risk patient unattended. Caleb's jaw flexed. I'm her husband. Nora didn't blink, and I'm her nurse. The air between them turned sharp. Then Caleb softened his tone, like he was speaking to a child. She needs peace. Please. Nora glanced at me, not asking permission with words, but with eyes. I blinked once. It's okay. Nora nodded. 2 minutes, she said. I'll be right outside. The door clicked shut. Caleb exhaled, as if he'd been holding a storm in his lungs. He stepped closer to my bed, and the second he thought we were alone, his whole face changed. Not grief. Calculation. He pulled a chair beside me and sat, leaning in like a man whispering a prayer. But his voice was low, cold. You're awake, he said softly. That's unexpected. I tried to speak, but I kept it weak, fragile. Caleb, he patted my hand, too tight. Sure, don't strain yourself. I turned my face slightly, pretending exhaustion. Inside, my mind was a camera, recording everything. Caleb glanced toward the door, then back to me. The doctor says you may be confused. Memory problems. I swallowed. I heard. A flash of fear crossed his eyes. Then he smiled again, gentle and false. Heard what? I let my lips tremble. Voices talking about funeral. Caleb chuckled softly, like it was a sad misunderstanding. Oh, Maris. We were preparing for the worst. That's what people do when they love someone. Love. He leaned in closer until I could smell his cologne, the same one I used to press my face into when I trusted him. He whispered, But you're going to be okay, right? It sounded like a question, but it was a warning. I forced my voice into a whisper. I want to go home. Caleb's eyes sharpened. Home isn't ready for you. I frowned weakly. Why? He paused. Then his voice smoothed. Because it would overwhelm you. You need rest. You need time. Time for them to finish what they started. I shifted my hand under the blanket and pressed the record button with my thumb, praying the tiny click didn't betray me. Caleb studied my face like he was searching for the real me under the bruises and weakness. Then he spoke, and his words made the room colder. Maris, he murmured, do you remember the night you got sick? I hesitated, pretending fog. A little. He nodded slowly. You had wine. You were stressed. You fainted. I forced myself not to react, because I remembered Lena handing me that glass with a smile too eager. Caleb continued, calm as a man reading instructions. Sometimes accidents happen. Sometimes bodies don't recover. I whispered, are you saying? His grip tightened on my fingers, just enough to hurt. I'm saying you should stop fighting. Fighting is exhausting. My eyes watered, not fear this time, rage. He leaned in closer, his voice almost tender. If you keep talking about what you heard, people will think you're unstable. And unstable people don't get to make decisions. Do you understand? There it was. The plan. Make me look crazy. Take control. Silence me legally. I swallowed hard. I understand. Caleb's shoulders relaxed. He believed me. He stood, smoothing his suit like he was preparing for a meeting. Good girl. Rest. As he reached for the door, Lena entered, slipping in like a shadow. "Everything okay?" she asked, eyes darting to me. Caleb nodded. "She's groggy. Confused." Lena smiled at me, syrupy and poisonous. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." I whispered. "Lena, you stayed?" Her eyes flickered. Guilt or fear, I couldn't tell. "Of course. I'm family." I almost laughed. Caleb stepped out. The door clicked shut again, leaving me alone with the woman who used to call me sister. Lena moved closer, voice low. "You scared us, Maris." I whispered. "I heard you." Her smile faltered. "You heard what?" I held her gaze, weak but steady. "You said no autopsy." Lena's face drained of color. She leaned in, voice trembling with anger disguised as concern. "You're confused." I barely moved my head. "Am I?" Her hand slid onto my arm, too firm, too controlling. "Listen to me. You need to stop. Caleb has done everything for you." My voice came out like broken glass. He tried to touch my fore. Lena's nostrils flared. "You're going to ruin everything." Everything. The word slipped out before she could catch it. I felt my pulse spike. Lena froze, realizing what she just revealed. Then her face hardened into something I'd never seen before, something that didn't look human at all. She leaned down, mouth near my ear. "If you tell anyone," she whispered, "no one will believe you, and accidents can happen twice." My blood went ice cold. She straightened, smoothing her hair, and smiled sweetly as the door opened. Nora stood there, eyes scanning the room. Lena's voice turned bright. "Oh, perfect timing. Maris was just asking for more pain meds." Nora's gaze flicked to me. I didn't blink. I didn't move. But under the blanket, my thumb stopped the recording, and I knew I had what I needed, because Lena had just threatened me, out loud. The truth didn't need to shout. IT just needed to stand up. The room went silent in a way that felt like the whole hospital held its breath. Lena's smile wobbled. "Excuse me?" Nora didn't flinch. I asked a simple question. Lena straightened her shoulders, tried to reclaim control. "She's been in pain all day. I'm advocating for her." Nora's eyes slid to me. "Maris, did you ask Lena for pain medication?" I forced my voice, stronger now, fueled by something deeper than fear. "No." The word landed like a gavel. Lena's face tightened. "Maris, you're confused." Nora cut her off. Maris is alert, oriented, and answering clearly. Lena laughed, too sharp. "Wow, you're really crossing boundaries, Nora." Nora's tone didn't change, but the temperature dropped. Boundaries exist to protect patients, especially from visitors who lie. Lena's eyes flashed. "I'm her best friend." I looked right at her. "You used to be." The words tasted like freedom. Lena's mouth opened, then closed. She turned toward the door, as if retreating would save her. But Nora was already there, one hand on the doorknob. "Before you go," Nora said quietly, "hospital policy requires us to document any conflict, threats, or suspicious behavior around vulnerable patients." Lena's voice rose. "Threats? Are you serious?" Nora held her gaze. "Maris is going to tell me exactly what was said, and I will document it." Lena's eyes snapped to me, furious and pleading at once. "Maris, don't do this. Caleb loves you." I let out a shaky breath. Love doesn't plan a burial. Nora stepped aside. "You may leave, Lena." Lena stormed out, but not before hissing under her breath, "You will regret this." The door slammed. Nora locked eyes with me. "Tell me everything. From the beginning." I did. Not perfectly. My voice still scratched, my throat still fought me, but I told her about the whispering, the DNR, the burial, the no autopsy, the touch, the threat. And then I showed her the phone. I recorded it. I whispered. Nora's hands didn't shake, but her eyes darkened. Good. She didn't praise me like a child. She treated me like a survivor who just picked up her first weapon. Within the hour, Nora returned with a hospital social worker and a patient advocate. They asked questions. They listened. They didn't dismiss me. Then Nora said something that made my spine straighten. We also need to secure her personal belongings and restrict visitors. My heart thudded. Can you keep Caleb out? The advocate nodded. If you request it, yes. You're the patient. The patient. Not the body on a bed. Not the thing they could own. A living person with rights. When Caleb arrived later, he wasn't alone. He brought a man in a suit carrying a folder. The kind of folder people carry when they think the law already belongs to them. Caleb walked in smiling, but it cracked when he saw security near my door. What is this? He demanded. The suited man cleared his throat. I'm here to finalize Maris's medical decisions. Nora stepped forward. No decisions will be finalized by anyone except Maris. Caleb's face twisted. She's not competent. I met his gaze, voice hoarse but steady. I am competent enough to know you try to kill me. The suited man blinked. Excuse me? Caleb's eyes flared. Maris, you're... Nora cut in. We have documentation of inappropriate behavior, and the patient has requested restricted visitation. Caleb's voice shook with fury. This is ridiculous. I'm her husband. I smiled, small and bitter. You're my husband on paper. That's all. The suited man looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Holloway, if you're alleging... I lifted the phone slightly. I have a recording. Caleb went still. For one heartbeat, his mask dropped completely, revealing the animal underneath. Then he recovered and laughed. A recording? Of what? Her confusion? She's been hallucinating. Nora's eyes turned flint. Then you won't mind if the hospital administration and law enforcement listen to it. Caleb stepped closer, voice low and threatening. You don't know what you're doing. I whispered back, I do now. Security moved in, blocking him. Caleb's face reddened. This is insane. I'm being accused because a nurse has a hero complex. Nora didn't react, but the suited man did. He stepped back from Caleb slightly, as if distance could keep him clean. Mr. Holloway, the man said carefully, I need to advise you to stop speaking. Caleb turned to him. Don't you dare. The man swallowed. If there's evidence of intent to harm, this becomes criminal. Caleb's eyes swung back to me, cold and furious. And I realized something terrifying. When a predator feels cornered, it doesn't always run. Sometimes it strikes. That night, as I lay awake, Nora stepped out briefly to check another patient. The room was quiet, too quiet. Then I heard the soft click of my door opening. A shadow slipped inside. Not Caleb, not Lena, someone else. A man in maintenance coveralls, head down, pushing a cart with cleaning supplies. He didn't speak. He didn't look at me. But as he approached my bed, his hand moved toward my foretubing with calm, practiced certainty. And on his wrist, I saw a familiar watch. Caleb's watch. She came back, and so did Justice. My blood turned to ice, but my mind, sharp, awake, furious, refused to freeze. The man's fingers touched the foreline. I forced my voice out, loud enough to tear the silence open. Nora. The man jerked, eyes snapping to the door like he hadn't expected resistance. He lunged again, faster now. I grabbed the call button with everything I had and slammed it. An alarm blared, shrill, urgent. The man hissed, shut up, and reached for my arm, trying to pin it down. In that instant, the door burst open. Nora, and behind her, security. The man froze. Nora's eyes went wide, then furious. Get away from her. Security grabbed him, twisting his arms behind his back. The cart tipped, bottles clattering like falling evidence. The man struggled, voice cracking. I was just cleaning. Nora snatched his wrist and yanked the sleeve back. There on his skin was a fresh bruise shaped like a tight grip, and on the floor near the cart, a syringe rolled out, glinting under the hospital light. Nora's voice went deadly calm. That's not cleaning equipment. The man's face collapsed. He started crying, not from regret. Fear. I didn't want to, he blurted. He said he'd pay me. He said she's a vegetable and it would be mercy. My heart pounded, so hard it felt like it could shatter the monitors. Nora leaned closer. Who paid you? The man swallowed. Caleb Holloway. The name hit the room like thunder. Within minutes, hospital administration arrived. Police arrived. The syringe was bagged. The maintenance worker, an imposter, was led away in cuffs. Nora held my hand, steadying me as if her strength could travel through skin. "You did it," she whispered. "You called out." I swallowed the ache in my throat. I wasn't dying quietly. In the morning, detectives came to interview me. Nora stayed nearby as a witness. I told them everything. I handed them the phone recordings. Caleb's threats, Lena's slip, the burial plan. The detective, a woman with tired eyes and a sharp pen, listened without blinking. When I finished, she said softly, "Maris, you realize this isn't just betrayal. This is conspiracy to commit murder." I nodded. Tears finally slid down my cheeks. Not because I was broken, but because the truth was finally standing in the light. Caleb was arrested that afternoon. He didn't come in crying this time. He came in raging. They brought him past my room in handcuffs. And for 1 second his eyes met mine through the glass. "You think you won," he snarled. I stared back, calm as sunrise. I woke up. That's what you never planned for. Lena was next. She tried to run, but people who build traps forget one thing. Traps catch the trapper too. When officers questioned her, she denied everything until they played her voice. Her threat, her slip about everything, her silence after the burial talk. She broke the way liars always do, loudly, dramatically, blaming everyone but herself. "It was Caleb," she screamed. "He told me it would be clean. He told me she'd never wake up." Never wake up. The same lie they comforted themselves with. Weeks passed. Physical therapy hurt. Speech therapy tested my patience. Nightmares tried to drag me back into that locked darkness. But every time fear rose, I remembered the truth. I came back. And coming back wasn't just waking up. It was reclaiming myself. During the trial, the courtroom was packed. People love a story like mine, where the villain wore a wedding ring, and the betrayal smelled like perfume. Caleb's attorney tried the same trick he'd promised. She was confused, hallucinating, post-coma delusions. Then Nora took the stand. Calm, clear, unshaken. "I observed Mr. Holloway reaching toward the 4 line," she testified. I stopped him. The defense tried to rattle her. "You're sure? Couldn't you be mistaken?" Nora's gaze didn't move. "I'm a nurse. Being sure is my job." Then the detective played the recording. Caleb's voice filled the courtroom, cold, calculating, speaking about burial and no autopsy like ordering dinner. A murmur swept through the room. Caleb's face turned gray. Lena stared at the floor like it might swallow her. When it was my turn to speak, I stood, not strong because I felt no pain, but strong because I refused to let pain define me. I looked at the jury and said, "They didn't just try to bury my body. They tried to bury my voice. They wanted my life to be a closed case." I turned to Caleb. "You thought silence meant weakness," I said, but silence was only the storm gathering. The verdict came like a door slamming, this time in my favor. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Caleb was sentenced. Lena too. And when the judge struck the gavel, I felt something inside me settle. Not vengeance, but release. Later, outside the courthouse, Nora stood beside me as reporters shouted questions. I didn't answer them. I looked at the sky, wide blue alive, and I breathed like someone who'd been underwater too long. Nora smiled. "What will you do now?" I smiled back, small but real. "I'm going to live," I said, "and I'm going to live loudly. Because the greatest revenge isn't destruction. It's survival. It's truth. It's waking up when everyone already planned your burial.